It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. I'm back in the studio. I'm back from Print United. You know, ladies and gentlemen, when I come back from these events, the first thing I want to do is take the lanyard, put it over here in the lanyard collection. Let's talk about Print United. I went to Print United for one reason. I wanted to see my friends that are getting into the production space, or already in the production space, or reinventing the production space. And while I was there, I wanted to look at some inkjet technologies that were changing the game in the high-end industrial space. That's what I did. I spent most of my time with those OEM friends of mine that are in the business print space, that are moving into production, or reinventing production, or enhancing the production they have. And I want to talk about those experiences. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, Print United is a big, big show. I mean, this thing's massive, and you couldn't walk around this whole thing. I mean, you got to know where you're going, and the time you spend with the people you know you're going to go see, by the time you do all of that, the day's over. It's probably why this thing lasts 3 days. But it's a massive, massive event. And, you know, I was kind of surprised. I'm walking around, and who do I run into? I run into Doug and his team over from POA. Pacific Office Automation. They got a booth at Print United. And it was great to be able to spend some time with Doug and his team. But there's a deal that's all in. They're not doing production print half-assed. They're making the right investments. They got the right team members in place. They understand the customer they're going after. And that's how you do it. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be willing to make those investments. And it was pretty amazing to see that Doug was making an investment to have a booth at the Print United show. And in the booth, he had Peak Solutions. You know, when I think about the business print shows we go to, the OEM shows, you know, you got the same leasing companies all the time with their booth. Peak Solutions, you know, this is the new leasing company coming to town to shake things up, disrupt the old leasing, if you will. There they were with Pacific Office Automation. It was great to see my friends from Peak. But ladies and gentlemen, while I was at the show, I wanted to visit my friends from Kyocera, Xerox, Sharp, and I stopped by the Rizzo booth. And folks, I got to start with the Rizzo booth. So you've seen me share Rizzo's numbers here on the end of the day with Ray. And Rizzo's the smallest company of all the companies that were at that show, I'm pretty sure. They do about $500 million a year in business. But you know what? I will give them this. They make more money than Konica Minolta, at least over the last 3.5, 4 years. So they might be the smallest one in the room, but they're rifle focused, they're disciplined, they know what they're doing in the marketplace. They know how to get the customer, service the customer, and keep their costs in line to be a profitable company. And I would have to say congratulations, Rizzo. But it was also great to see the Rizzo product line. It's been a long time since I looked at the whole Rizzo product line. I was very impressed with what they have and where they're going, because they truly understand their market. They truly understand their market. They're trying to be everything for everybody. They understand their market. They know how to go into that market. They know how to innovate to that market. And they're profitable. I went over to my friends at Sharp. And folks, you know, they're kicking off that big machine. They're rebranding from Fuji. We all saw that announcement. It came at their dealer meeting. That'll be in the marketplace, in customers' offices, first quarter of 2024. They're excited about it. They're putting the processes in place. They're getting the people in place to go into the market and deliver. But I'm going to remain cautious, as I shared with Bob when I interviewed him from the show. Because I don't believe that production print is a growth business. It's a displacement business. And that means the hardware that big print shops used to use, and maybe it was in the industrial space, they had this roll paper, and they were printing thousands and thousands of forms. And then the customer said, well, we don't want to print those forms anymore. We're going to give them to our internal customers in the digital landscape. Or maybe companies said, you know what, we're not going to print 10,000 forms anymore. We recreated the form. Some of that form is going to live in a digital landscape. Some of the form still needs to be printed. But the volume dropped so low. And as the volumes dropped so low, they were able to move this once printed information in an industrial space into a cut sheet digital world, production print. The growth is about hardware changing from really expensive high-end hardware to lower cost cut sheet hardware. But the volume on the hardware is declining. That's the reason it was able to transfer from one machine to the other, and that volume will still decline. Production print volume at location will not increase in volume. We'll sell more machines because we're replacing really big, expensive machines with lower cost cut sheet digital machines. That's a fact. That's a reality. And sooner or later, the industry is going to have to figure out how to capitalize on this declining marketplace when all the big machines are replaced. Because you can't lower the price to the end user anymore. You can't raise it. We already hit the floor. So the only thing we can do as an industry is lower the cost. It'll take those OEMs that can cut the cost that no other OEM is willing to cut. It'll take those OEMs that have processes in place that allow them to cut costs, that their competitors don't have those processes. Let's go to our friends at Kyocera. That's a process change. Kyocera is going from, they don't want to have production laser. They want to have production ink. And we all know that ink is a whole lot less to service than laser. And the cost savings in service from going from laser to ink are tremendous. And more of the technology in the production space is going to ink. It's just a fact of life. It has to. Because we have to lower the cost to deliver. Because the end user's volumes will never grow. Ladies and gentlemen, we're putting more and more stuff behind glass than ever before. I was at this show, and what do I see? I see the signs that people used to take to the printer and have them printed, that big giant sign that they would pull up and put on the hook at their booth. Those are digital now. They buy it one time. The sign can change all through the show. The sign can change every minute, every day, or every hour. It doesn't matter. It's digital. It's not being printed. So my friends that are in the production space, the reality of it is the volume at those machines will never grow. Will never grow. So we're going to have to figure out as an industry how to cut the cost to maintain the profitability as the industry continues to decline. I went to my Xerox booth and I was impressed with what I saw because I saw AI and I saw software. It wasn't about the machine. It was about the back end, the ecosystem, and the software, and the AI, and what information they're getting from their massive MIF they have out in the field. And we would all expect Xerox has a boatload of production machines in the field. So as they gather this AI and all this data, how will they be able to use that data to lower the cost that their competitors can't lower? How will they be able to use that data to give their end users a better experience by enhancing the service platforms based on AI? So ladies and gentlemen, the production market space is definitely changing. As Kyocera brings ink into it. As Xerox brings AI into it. Our friends at Rizzo, they're going to live in their world that they're comfortable in, that they can innovate around that world. And at the end of the day, they're very, very disciplined and rifle focused. But they too, they'll have to figure out, how do we cut costs as the market continues to decline? Maybe it's how do we innovate or partner with somebody else in the market? Ladies and gentlemen, the production print space is going to modify as it declines. And whether you're Kyocera, whether you're my friends at Sharp, Rizzo, or Xerox, whether you're a dealer like my friend at POA, whether you're the finance company that's financing the hardware, the production print space is going to modify as production print continues to decline. The show didn't change my mind on that. And I think all logical people realize that every single day more and more people consume information behind glass. Let me sum it up this way for you, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that production print is about bringing the past to the future. And I don't say that in a negative way. It's just a reality. We have past processes. And those past processes were about reading information in a physical world on paper. That's the past process. And so we have to innovate to be able to capture this displacement growth. And part of that innovation was, hey, we got some cut sheet machines that are capable of producing a lot more volume than they used to because we're going after the big industrial machines. But still, the volumes are continuing to drop. So the innovation is really about a declining marketplace. In production print, innovation right now is about a declining marketplace. That's just the facts of life. It's reality. When I think about industrial printing, it's bringing the future to the present. It's innovating to capture a growing marketplace. Its inkjet technology is recreating what we see. It's about this ink technology. It's changing the game in so many areas. Our friends at Kyocera have a machine that prints on cloth. Ladies and gentlemen, this is game changing for the apparel industry. You know, there's machines out there, inkjet based, that will print wood floors, whatever species you want. Cherry, bamboo, oak, going in people's houses. There's inkjet technology out there that'll print murals on walls, whether those are in offices or in people's homes. Changing the game. Print's future won't be about what we read in the physical world. The future for print is about what we see in the physical world. And how did that get there? How did that art get there? It was probably printed through some inkjet technology. This floor I'm walking on is awesome. I've never seen this kind of tile before. Well, it was printed with inkjet technology. And ladies and gentlemen, those are my friends that want to get into the industrial print space. That's a whole different game with whole different rules. But please pay attention to the reality of the production print space, because it's not a growth space. Production print, the growth was all about hardware. And it's only because the really big hardware was being replaced by cut sheet hardware, which is a lot cheaper. And the only reason it was being replaced is because the end users' volumes were dropping, and those end users' volumes will continue to drop. Folks, I'm looking forward to going next year. But everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo. I'll see y'all tomorrow.